Hello everybody and welcome to something a little bit different. This is a quick look at Trihaywbfrfyh. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I don't think anyone really knows how to pronounce that. If the reason for the words in the letter jumble mix is because essentially that's how HP Lovecraft would explain some noises, some like visceral gruts or grunts that come out of certain things that happen in the universe. This is a Rapture simulator. The Rapture is here, as we can see, and we will be forcibly removed from our home. That is essentially the game. It's 20 minutes romp through this world, and there's 4 different unique stories from the Lovecraft universe that will be kind of told through different kind of channels, through different outlets, all kind of unique stories that go along. So 4 totally different stories, one world. Game is by Connor Sherlock. If you join the game, please consider purchasing the soundtrack. I'll have links and everything in the description. You could play this game for free. It's on Game Jolt. I'll have that in the description as well. So the stories by HP Lovecraft, we have a few of them. Rebecca Lamarche, who does The Shunned House. Emmett Sherlock, who does Shadow Out of Time. Callous Man, who is another YouTuber, Callous Man, CA Listman 222, does The Color Out of Space, and it's phenomenal. And the last one is this guy right here, Josh Smith, who does the Call of Cthulhu. That is right, I am in this game, and I do it's an abridged work of the Call of Cthulhu, which is one of my favorite Lovecraft stories of all time, and one of the most beloved ones, I think, ever. So we are going to return back to the main menu, and I'm going to play the game, but I'm not going to play the game in its entirety. I'm going to give you a little bit snippets of each of the stories, but I really, if you guys think this game is, up your alley, I want you to play it. It's free. It's a really unique experience, and I think you'll like it a lot. So, without further ado, let's play Trihaywbfrfyh. So it's a first-person game, WASD to move. Use my mouse wheel to look around, or not my mouse wheel, use my mouse itself to move around, and shift to run. So we are placed in this big open field right now. We see a giant-ass pillar for no apparent reason right there, and we see I can zoom in with right mouse, some kind of like bubbles floating up into the air. The bubbles each represent a different storyline with their color. So white, yellow, mine is blue, and Callous Man's is red. So let's go. This is the Emmett Sherlock. This is the Shadow Out of Time one over here. You might also notice that there is some big giant thing in the sky, and when you even look at it, it kind of gives you this tonal sound music vibe. You can check this out. So it's kind of like whomp, whomp, which is really ominous because we don't exactly know what it is. But if you could see, if I bring my field of view right up close to it, you can see that it's actually getting bigger all the time. So if I have if it's not touching the window yet at the very top, it is going to in the right now. So it is getting bigger all the time, but it's really slow. So you have essentially 20 minutes to get one of these. You have 20 minutes in this world before the game ends. I'm not going to tell you how it ends, but it does. But essentially, this thing kind of starts doing things, and the world around you changes as well. So it's not like nothing happens in the game. It's not like a big terrain simulator. There is things that will happen as you collect more of these giant pillars, and hear the story that the stories or the game actually changes around the story itself. So let's check out this one. As soon as I go through this pillar, a voice is going to start, and that's going to be the voice of Emmett Sherlock for the Shadow Out of Time. So let's check this out.
Had I, in full hideous fact, been drawn back to a pre-human world of 150 million years ago, in those dark, baffling days of the amnesia? Had my present body been the vehicle of a frightful alien consciousness from Paleogean gulfs of time? Had I, as the captive mind of those shambling horrors, indeed known that accursed city of stone in its primordial heyday, and wriggled down those familiar corridors in the lonesome shape of my captor? Were those tormenting dreams of more than 20 years ago the offspring of stark, monstrous memories?
Okay, so that is the first storyline. That's the Emmett Sherlock Shadow of Time again. This next one up here, right by the giant pillar, is Rebecca LaMarche, the Shunned House. But I really want to talk about a little bit more about the gameplay here. So I love the colors, I love the subdued, I love that the cloud cover is actually just cloud cover. It's not like a nice clear day. It is scary as hell in here, and this kind of just sense of aloneness in this kind of like vast world, and this big old thing inside the sky, above the sky, is just looking down on you, ever growing and ever kind of like putting you on edge. The more that you listen to each story, the farther you get in each storyline, the game really kind of like grabs you and brings you in. So let's check out the Rebecca LaMarche, The Shunned House, the first of these excerpts. So here we go.
The natural leadership, which with my uncle procured the instruments from the laboratories of Brown University and the Cranston Street Armory, and instinctively assumed direction of our venture, was a marvelous commentary on the potential vitality and resilience of a man of 81. Elihu Whipple had lived according to the hygienic laws he had preached as a physician, and but for what happened later, would be here in full vigor today.
Okay, so cool. So I'm seeing two different ones right here. So I got blue, which is me, but this yellow would continue the story of the Shunned House by Rebecca LaMarche over there. The thing about the giant pillars is sometimes I don't think that they're tall enough. That is one of my criticisms of the game, excuse me. Sometimes I'll get lost in the world and not have any idea where the next pillar is. It is sometimes a little bit hard to find them, hard to see them. They'll go behind trees, they'll be behind rocks or mountains. I think that the only way that you can kind of fix that is make them even taller, which I don't think would... I think it might be a good idea just because I'd be able to find them. If there is some sort of visual cue to let you know in which general direction that the next pillar is and the next one, that might be good as well. Also, for the cues, it might be nice to the stories kind of end abruptly. There's no kind of end really to them. So like once you hear all the stories, you can still do things in the game world. Like go around and try to collect some more of the story bits and pieces from the other stories. But I don't think there's a finite end unless because I recorded these and I'm pretty sure I did all of them and I found all of them. But the game, it just didn't tell you. So it'd be nice to know like when the game does officially end. Elsewise, you're just gonna be kind of running around with like, you know, is there looking for something that might not be there. Which kind of happened to me. So here is mine. This is light blue one. This is JSmithOTI reads the Call of Cthulhu. So it's going to be me talking, but it's going to be me also silent. So let's check this out.
The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all of its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance in the midst of black seas of infinity, and it was not meant that we should voyage far. The sciences, each straining in its own direction, have hitherto harmed us little. But someday, piecing together of disassociated knowledge will open up such terrifying vistas of reality and of our frightful position therein, that we shall either go mad from the revelation, or will flee from the deadly light into the peace and safety of a new dark age. I shall never knowingly supply a link in so hideous a chain. I think that the professor too intended to keep silent regarding the part that he knew, and that he would have destroyed his notes had not sudden death seized him.
Okay, so that is part one of mine. I'm gonna play part two in just a second. But I do want to call out, this is really interesting. So it's not out in the middle of nowhere. Look, there are power lines right over here. So the game's not setting you up like you're out in the middle of nowhere. There's a weird forest, and how'd you get here? This is kind of like a regular person and may have like wandered out into here, but there's still some touch of humanity that still remains in the game. And I think that's important because, you know, you could just get lost in the wilderness, but you also need that kind of little hint that humanity still is existing out there. So, oh, that was kind of weird. I think this is Connor, like one of Connor's like earliest games or one of his first games. And I think it's really well done. For I have no idea how long he's been programming, but I love it. I really do. So here's part two of mine versions of Call of Cthulhu.
My knowledge of the Thing began in the winter of 1927 with the death of my granduncle, George Gamble Angel, Professor Emeritus of Semitic Languages in Brown University, Providence, Rhode Island. Professor Angel was widely known as an authority on ancient inscriptions and had frequently been resorted to by the heads of prominent museums. So this passing at the age of 92 may have been recalled by many. And as my grand-uncle's heir and executor, for he died a childless widower, I was expected to go over his papers with some thoroughness, and for that purpose, moved his entire set of files and boxes to my quarters in Boston.
Okay, so that is going to be all for the Call of Cthulhu, but I definitely want to get with some of this color out of space action we got over here. The voice acting for this is just perfect. I really enjoy the commentary that C.A. Listman, Calistman, I have no idea how to pronounce his name. It's super good. It's the tone is so perfect for an HP Lovecraft story. Check this out.
West of Arkham, the hills rise wild, and there are valleys with deep woods that no axe has ever cut. There are dark, narrow glens where the trees slope fantastically, and where thin brooklets trickle without ever having caught the glint of sunlight. On the gentler slopes there are farms, ancient and rocky, with squat moss-coated cottages brooding eternally over old New England secrets in the lee of great ledges. But these are vacant now, the wide chimneys crumbling and the shingled sides bulging perilously beneath low gambrel roofs. The old folk have gone away, and foreigners do not like to live here. French Canadians have tried it, Italians have tried it, and the Poles have come and departed. It is not because of anything that can be seen or heard or handled, but because of something that is imagined. The place is not good for the imagination. It does not bring restful dreams at night. It must be this which keeps the foreigners away, for old Ammy Peace has never told them of anything he recalls from the strange days. When I went into the hills and vales to survey for the new reservoir, they told me the place was evil.
So, I absolutely adore the tone that guy has, and the raspiness of his voice. I have no idea his age or anything, but it's super good. Okay, so here is, we see this is big, red, and tall. That should be the size of all of like the little bubble actions, because I can visually see this and it's awesome. One other kind of criticism I have for the game, and there's only like a couple because I really enjoy this one. Well, not only because I'm in it. The reason I'm in this game is because I played a pre-alpha demo, and I said, you know, I really enjoy this. If you need anything, if you need like more voice actors, I would be thrilled to try that out, because I wanted to be part of such an interesting and unique game, and especially as like I love HP Lovecraft and I want to see like more games of him, or more games about him. I just love like the whole Cthulhu mythos and the whole universe that he made all of his books in. But regardless, we are going to, this is going to be the last visual, or the last bit of story that we'll listen to, but I just wanted to give you another hint of the color out of space.
It all began, old Ammy said, with the meteorite. Before that time, there had been no wild legends at all since the witch trials, and even these western woods were not feared half so much as the small island on the Miskatonic, where the devil held court beside a curious altar, older than the Indians. These were not haunted woods, and their fantastic dusk was never terrible till these strange days. Then there had come that white noontide cloud, that string of explosions in the air, and that pillar of smoke from the valley far in the wood. By night, all Arkham had heard of the great rock that fell out of the sky and bedded itself in the ground beside the well at the Nahum Gardner place. Nahum had come to town to tell people about the stone. They had dropped in on Ammy Pierce's on the way. Ammy was 40 then, and all the queer things were fixed very strongly in his mind. He and his wife had gone with 3 professors from Miskatonic University, who hastened on the next morning to see the weird visitor from unknown stellar space.
So, I love all of this game. It's so good. That lightning strike, I don't even know if it was planned to be put there, but it fits so well. I'm gonna leave the game as this right now. The big thing in the sky is looming, and it's scary, and I'm horrified of it. But that's it. It's a whole kind of like area of it's a big chunk of world that you can go in and explore and find out a little bit more about HP Lovecraft and some of the stories that he wrote. I think they're all under like I think they're copyright free now, so you can find a lot of them online. I like this game a whole lot. Links will be in the description. I should mention that, yeah, so Connor Sherlock, he did the game and music. Well done, sir. This has been great. It was a pleasure working with you, and you made this thing a whole... I'm fumbling over words. It's been a whole lot of fun. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I am JSmith, and I am on the internet. I'm also in this game. Check it out on GameJolt.com, and links and everything will be in the description. Thank you all very much for joining with me today, and I will catch you next time. Later.